hope is to authentically share the stories of young people entering the world and their future with a network of support and dreams intact and on track.
My name is Ketrina Hazell. I am 27 years old. I am from East New York, Brooklyn. I have a disability, cerebral palsy. I was diagnosed with at 9 months old. I use a wheelchair for mobility. Most of the New York City schools I attended were in my surrounding neighborhoods of East New York and Bronxville, which is also known as the underserved community. I am an advocate lead for the Regional Centers for Workforce Transformation, a certified professional coach, and a motivational speaker. I serve on many committees, locally and statewide. I was really shy when I was younger, to the point where when I was going from early intervention into public school, a school psychologist came to evaluate me. And because I did not respond to her, when she asked me my colors, she assumed I did not know my colors and made a recommendation that I be placed in a classroom with children who were considered mentally retarded at that time. Here I am, a motivational speaker, a disability champion, and speaking at schools, keynote speaker for galas, and I also speak internationally.
Played at 2 different Super Bowls. I know a lot about things like motivation, strength, resilience, and that's why I'm very, very proud tonight to introduce you to an incredible person, Ketrina Hazell.
It's truly an honor to be here today, surrounded by so many amazing kids, families, and most of all, you, supporters of Encourage Kids Foundation. Encourage Kids means to me that children get the opportunities that they never had before, and families get to be in a safe space.
I believe it was Encourage Kids New York, where she spoke, wow, I think there were hundreds of people in that room. And we were on that platform, and I'm telling you, something clicked in her. I can feel that power just being released when she looked out into that audience and realized, wow, there's hundreds of people there and they're listening to me. So she knew then that she had a story, she had a voice, and she had a story to tell.
Being a champion is fighting for what you want, not for yourself alone, but for others out there, maybe who cannot even fight for themselves or who do not have the voice to even voice their own voice out there.
She spent 60 days in
NICU?
In the ICU in Brookdale Hospital. 60 days.
Growing up was very interesting. As I started school, I started to learn more about my story and how my disability impacts me. Elementary school was pretty much inclusive. It was an inclusive community. I had friends. I went on trips. Many of my friends knew how to care for me and knew what supports I needed. So I was able to attend after school. Even when my paraprofessional had to leave, they knew what to do for me. Many of the school buses are very old, so the lifts sometimes wouldn't work and they would often break down. In the summertime, it'll be very hot because sometimes the air conditioners don't work, or even though I live so close to many of my schools, I would be on the school bus for a long time.
Working with Ketrina, I was inspired by the fact that she knew that she wanted to do stuff, but she was only comfortable with speaking to maybe say her parents, or she was very close with the paraprofessional that she had at the time, and me coming in as a therapist, I just wanted to make her feel comfortable because I noticed that she was so shy. Push her to be more vocal about the things that she likes. So I changed her mandate when I was with her and put her in a group mandate, so that way she can work with another student and work on one, her peer interaction, her being able to socialize, because she was very shy. So, other kids would talk to her in the class, but she didn't necessarily seek them out. If they spoke to her, she spoke to them. She's like, oh, that person's nice to me, but she didn't really, seek them out. Or if she was a little behind in class with copying work and she didn't understand, she didn't feel confident enough to tell the teacher that she didn't understand what it was. So by noticing that, I felt, what would I do if it was my child, or how would I want someone to treat my child if they were working with them? So extra times that I had spare time and I didn't have a student, I would go to her classroom to see what she was doing and just encourage her to speak up for herself and, to pretty much advocate for herself.
Middle school was a new chapter, and I was now put in a general education class.
Me and Ketrina have been together since she was 6th grade. And then she left to go to another school, and then I had her for her whole high school career from the time she was in 9th grade all the way to 12th grade. So she and I have built a very strong relationship. She calls me mom, or I'm her school mom. But I had to get to understand her for who she was and understand her struggles, because she was so-called, she felt she was invisible because she was in a wheelchair. She's a girl, and she's very soft-spoken. So being around her kind of made me feel that, you know what, I'm going to do everything I can as a woman to woman or female to female to teach her what it feels like to be able to speak for herself and to open up and to have a voice of her own. Because as women, sometimes we don't have our own voice. It took us forever to get those. So I wanted her to be able to advocate for herself.
When I was reintroduced to Ketrina, she was advocating for one of her peers. I was invited to a meeting for her peer. And in that meeting, she was present, and she was, with the permission of the peer and her and his family, she was able to speak on his behalf. And as a result, we, the meeting attendees, or the members, the team members of that meeting, were able to get more information from the student and Ketrina's point of view as to what his needs would be. And we were able to support that peer much more because of her input. And we were also impressed again by her ability to say, yes, I'm here, and I'm also here. I'm here for myself, and I'm also here for others with similar needs as me, as I have.
Ketrina and I have been friends for about 10, 11 years, would you say? Yeah. She's a great leader, a great person to be around. Everybody gets along with her. A mother and a sister. She really takes good care of me, and even when I make mistakes or I slip up, she's right there to catch me, guide me back into the path I was, on, keep my mind focused, help me keep my mind focused.
My admiration of her really grew. Where some of the students would rely on their teachers or their parents to get their point across or their needs across to administrators, Ketrina did not hesitate to reach out to me via email. She reached out and I responded. I responded and included the mother in the response. And the mother told me, no, Ketrina's the one that's emailing. And the emails were so well written, so articulate in the wording that I was very impressed. And what she wanted to get out of with her email, it was very clearly stated. And I was able to understand and do my best to facilitate her needs.
Whenever the kids had school trips and she couldn't go, that would really bother her. It bothered me too. Because they would go to like the zoo, or they would go to the movies, or any place that the school was going to, or to the museums. We really had to plan so far in advance to make sure she had an accessible bus or getting on the city bus. And most of the times she wasn't ever invited because she had that disability. We have to worry about a wheelchair. And then sometimes the special education coordinator, she would try her best, but sometimes it wasn't enough. So you figured in 4 years she was in school, she may have went on 2 trips in 4 years in high school. And I had to fight to make sure she had that school bus, or I was the one who made the phone call that says, listen, I'm going to get a bus for her, or I'm going to call a ride for us and we'll meet you over there. That was a big deal for her, to be able to be involved with people in her class. So whenever she wasn't invited or she didn't go, that was hurtful. That was hurtful to her.
She grew into this person, and it's just beautiful. It really is. Ketrina she's confident, and when she gets her mind set on what she wants, she is going to 110% go for it. Absolutely, no questions asked. Her chair is an accessory. Okay, that's all it is.
It's supposed to make transportation a little bit easier for those with physical or developmental disabilities, but lately, it's only made things even more difficult, earning it the nickname Excessive Lies by some of its users. Complaints of late pickups, rude drivers, and even broken down vehicles.
Many nightmares. They leave me at places. They get me late to school, and I never get to my location on time.
Ketrina Hazell is a student at Kingsborough Community College and counts on Access-a-Ride. But after months of what she says has been unreliable service, she feels like she's the one being taken for a ride. That's why she decided to start a petition calling for more consistency with the service. Ketrina and others want to make clear that they are grateful for Access-a-Ride. Without it, they might not be able to travel around the city like everyone else. All they want is more dependability.
So from that, she started voicing herself out. It's like, we still in shock that she is doing so much, because that was not her from before.
Dear Ms. Rosado, Mom. Hi, my other mom, how are you? I hope that all is well. I'm writing you this letter personally to share a deep appreciation to you for being a part of my life in so many ways. I can't believe in a few weeks it will make 2 years since I signed my supported decision making agreement, and because of you and all of my other supporters in my life began to shine right before my eyes. Honestly, when I took the steps to start planning for my future, I thought of you and all the conversations we had together. I knew it looked like I was not paying you no mind, but years later, as you can see, I'm taking steps and getting my life together.
I chose Kingsborough Community College because it was really the only option I had at the time, because when I graduated from high school, the only plan they had for me was to go to a day program. Some things about Kingsborough that was like a highlight to me was they offer very good accessibility, and they have a very good accessibility department for students with disability. They were very supportive and understanding to my needs, and they got me what I needed in order to attend college despite my many physical disabilities.
You had a plan. You were determined. You were ambitious. You had a plan of what you wanted to achieve, and I think that you demonstrated your seriousness because you handed me your business card. You had business cards all made up, and I was very impressed. It's not every day I meet a young student who could tell me exactly what it is they wanted to do and had cards made up already, even though they hadn't yet achieved the thing that they meant to achieve. But it showed me that you were purposeful.
While I was in college, an historic moment happened. I was crowned Miss Wiltshire New York State 2018. The Miss Wiltshire New York organization mission is to educate others on disability-related issues and empowers others with disabilities to become a part of a national organization called Miss Wiltshire America. As a title holder, we advocate and represent for over 64 million Americans living with a disability. My platform focused on bringing self-advocacy into schools and making them more inclusive. I made an impact throughout New York City and New York State. I spoke to students and educators, Department of Education, employees and leaders, school superintendents about the importance of disability awareness in terms of training for employees, students in schools, and also for the educators to teach students self-advocacy skills. I got to empower young people, especially young girls, to encourage them to find their voice, and by them being able to see a person just like them in a crown and sash, they will often say, "I want to be like you when I grow up." That's why I created a 3D doll of me to continue the representation that girls and boys will have the opportunity to become prince and princesses. Since graduating college, I founded my very own mentoring program called Disability Champions Mentoring Network to help students with disabilities transition from high school into whatever they dream.
So Ketrina joined our team about a year and a half ago, and in hiring self-advocates to our team, we worked to develop a job description that wasn't quite the same as some of the other positions that we have on our team, but the point of including self-advocates, people living with disability labels, is to really ensure that the work that we're doing is meeting the needs of the people who are receiving services. So essentially, she was hired to contribute her voice, to come to meetings, to perhaps write some articles, to participate in the conversations and contribute her perspective. But Ketrina pretty well into a short time into the role, adjusted and sort of started taking her own pathway, which we also encourage to do. We tell them to pick a project that they're passionate about, and one of the projects that she has chosen is the Disabilities Champions project. And so initially when Ketrina was hired, I worked with her to tell her story. And she maybe had some practice telling her story to different audiences, but this was really developing a presentation with photographs describing the journey from a very young child. And through the process of hearing her story, I realized that there were a lot of pieces of the story that she wasn't telling.
With disabilities turn 18, they're often told that they need to have guardianship. And for me, when I turned 18, my case manager would continue to come to my house to visit me or my mom or my family, and they would say, "Are you ready to apply for guardianship?" My mom knew that if she did guardianship for me, that she would have full control for me, and I wouldn't have much say. So when I found out about supported decision making, I knew that was something that I always wanted. And when I learned about how it works, I was really excited to bring a community together to support me. And I was really excited of how the process works.
I've worked in the health industry for about 22 years, mental health and disability. So I quite understand her place. So most of the adults and children go into guardianship. And you see the challenges they face in that they don't have a say sometimes. So it's really important at this time to have a decision making, because it doesn't matter that you have a disability, you're still a person with your own goals and your own dreams. And it's really important then for you to be able to make your own decisions. So it's not about someone just coming into your life and say, here, sign here, sign here. You have a voice. The challenge was to get her parents on board, especially her mom. And I sat her down and I helped her to understand the importance. I said, look, you're aging now. Both you and your husband are getting older. And I know you're wonderful in taking care of Ketrina. There's no doubt about it. I mean, they love her and it's their desire to take care of her, but the reality is that you're aging. And so you're gonna need assistance. And then we brought her in to be a part of it so she can understand every process. And I think that's really important with persons who are going to take this challenge with their child.
It has impacted my life in many ways because although I pick supporters for each of different areas, I think that all of my supporters comes together as like one village whenever I need their support, and they just help me see my dreams and goals come true. I'm the same girl who felt that school was an overwhelming place for me, but yet it was the place that I look forward to going to every day because I was always ready to put myself up for a new challenge. To me, being able to go to college and find my intelligence, being involved in college and being included made a big difference. With all I do, I look forward to a huge, bright future. But within all I accomplish in life already, I wonder what the future will truly hold for me.